You have two choices when it comes to 2025. You can either make it the year that everything changes for the better, or you can just let it pass by you like every other year prior. But here's the honest truth. With all the advice out there on how to make 2025 the greatest comeback that you've ever seen, or how to disappear for 6 months and come back unrecognizable, everyone makes it seem so much easier than it actually is. Which is why in today's video, I'm going to give you the no BS framework on how to make 2025 the year that you will always remember, that the year that everything changed. Now, with that being said, there is some truth behind those videos that you've probably seen on how to change your life, because it really does only take 1 year. But that 1 year is going to require every ounce of your heart and soul, and it's going to require a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in order to become the man that you have always wanted to become. But this last year has shown me proof positive that if you truly put your mind to something and dedicate yourself to that one thing for a year straight, you're going to be a completely changed person by the end of that year. Because for me, at the beginning of 2024, I was stuck in this place in life where I had a vision for my future of what I wanted that to be. I know I wanted to do something great with my life, but my actions weren't backing up the words that came out of my mouth. And it was at that moment that I decided to start taking my life seriously for the first time ever in my life. Because I believe that we all experience a turning point in our lives at one point or another, where we're faced with two options. We can either stay mediocre and continue letting life pass us by, or we can make the tough decision to decide that we want more out of life and dedicate ourselves to that decision. Because me personally, from January to April, I was working on a boat making about $5,000 to $6,000 per month after tax. And to most people, that's pretty good money, right? Like, you can live comfortably pretty much anywhere in the world off of that amount of money. But the issue was, I hated my existence so much to the fact that the money wasn't even worth it at that point. I was working 80 to 100 hours per week. I was sleeping 2 to 4 hours per night because I was still taking classes online for university. And it was also during that time that I started building my personal brand. And the reason that that last part is so important is because I've wanted to start creating content now for over 5 years, but I only started in April of 2024. And the reason that I finally decided to press record for the very first time on April 2nd of 2024 was because I reached that turning point. I realized that I could either continue working 80 to 100 hours per week at this shitty ass job where I was making good money, but I had zero life outside of it, or I can decide to take my life seriously once and for all and go all in on building a personal brand and do something that is truly fulfilling to me, and also where the earning potential is limitless. And I realized that no matter what option I chose, both of them, I'm going to experience some level of pain. So let's choose the option that allows me to become better as a result of it. Let's choose the option that allows me to make a positive impact on the world. One that allows me to build my confidence, improves me in areas that are transferable into the real world. And that's why I'm going to break down all the things that I've been working on over the past 8 to 12 months that have completely reshaped me as a person. And so the first thing you need to understand is that instead of trying to add all these new tips and tricks and hacks into your life, you need to go to the core of yourself and fix what's on the inside first before you can even think about what's on the outside. This includes working on things like your mentality and your ways of thinking, because your outer world is a mirror. It reflects back to you what you are on the inside. And if you really think about it, our minds are the only thing that we actually have control over in the first place. And if you get that part right, if you build a strong mentality and your ways of thinking are in alignment of who you want to become, the more rapidly your external world will change for the better. And one of the most important things that you can ever develop in your life that will reshape you as a person is your discipline. Because the amount of discipline that I've been able to gain from where I was to where I am now, from being addicted to drugs and vaping and porn and junk food, to now being clean of all of that shit and having a six-pack for the last 2 years straight. And this has not only changed my life for the better, but it has given me this new level of confidence in myself. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I used to be socially autistic for the majority of my life. But once I started doing the things that I said I was gonna do consistently, I started building this trust and confidence in myself that no one can take away from you. And it is those two things that give you this sense of freedom in your life that I think that we're all looking for. And discipline will give you just that. Because without discipline, you can't live the life that you want to live. Without discipline, you're always going to be a slave to your feelings and your urges and your temptations. But the beautiful part of all of this is that the reason it gives you this level of freedom and confidence and trust in yourself is because no one can give it to you, unlike motivation. Other people can give you motivation, but discipline is what you give yourself. And the best way I found from personal experience to do just that is to think of discipline like a muscle. The more that you use it, the stronger it becomes. And the less that you use it, the faster you will lose it. So if that's the case, see every hard task that you do as an opportunity to grow your discipline muscle. Because just like in the gym, The more that you grow your muscles, the easier the weights that you used to use will become. And it's the same thing with discipline. The more that you grow your discipline muscle, the easier doing hard tasks will be in the future. So as an actionable step for you, since we're comparing discipline muscles to the muscles that we train in the gym, I want you to begin training your discipline muscle by doing what I found the best way to improve your discipline is, and that is working out every single day. But if you think that training every day isn't optimal and that it's overtraining, look, how about you look like you've even stepped in a gym first, and then we'll talk about being optimal and overtraining and stuff like that. And you know what? To destroy any limiting belief that you might still have on this, here's a split right now that I'll give you that will allow you to train every day and still be fully recovered by the next time that that muscle group comes around again. Do chest on one day, back on one day, shoulders and arms on one day, legs on the next day, and then repeat. And if that still feels like it's too much for you, split shoulders and arms into 2 days so that you're doing chest, back, shoulders, arms, legs, and repeat that 5-day cycle. Is it going to be hard? Of course. Half the days I don't want to do this shit. And it's one of the things that I love to do the most is working out. But I know that my discipline muscle is growing stronger as a result of showing up every single day and doing the work. That's why I haven't missed a single training session since October 31st of 2021, because there's really nothing else in this world that grows your discipline muscle and your mentality quite like training every single day. It gives you more self-confidence, more mental clarity, more energy, more self-discipline, and most importantly, the belief that if you work hard at something, you will get results in it no matter what. And I've seen it with my own 2 eyes through my own transformation physically and mentally, and I hope for you to do the same after watching this video. But discipline is so much more than just working out, right? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. Think about it like this. If you can't be disciplined enough to make your bed and brush your teeth every single morning, then how do you expect to be disciplined enough in order to work out every single day? Because like I said before, discipline is a muscle, and you can't expect to flex a muscle that you haven't grown yet. You can't expect to show off something that you haven't built yet, because the way that you build your discipline is the exact same way that you lose it. And if you start skipping these smaller things like waking up when you said you were going to, making your bed every single morning, and brushing your teeth every single day, you no longer keep the promises that you made to yourself, and your discipline muscle will grow smaller as a result. And I'm going to be completely open and honest with you right now. I've noticed that for me recently, for the past couple of weeks, I've been going to sleep later and waking up later than I usually do, which has resulted in my discipline taking a hit in the other areas of my life as well, which is obviously not a good thing. But the more that I've been thinking about it, I've realized that the pain of doing hard things will never steer you in the wrong direction, because it is that pain of progressively overloading your life that has led to the transformation that I was able to make in the first place. And I thought that once you get to a certain level, you don't need to do these things anymore. But I couldn't be farther from the truth. Like, for example, I have to go train legs after recording this video. And if I didn't have that feeling right now that I have in my stomach of anxiety and nervousness because I know that I'm going to failure on squats and that shit fucking sucks, if I didn't have that feeling, I know for a fact that I would not be pushing myself hard enough. But the reason that I'm telling you this honestly is to hold myself accountable and to stop running from the pain of doing hard shit. Because this whole psyop of comfort that we've been led to believe that we should all be seeking comfort and convenience in our lives, but what they don't tell you is that the more comfort that you endure, the more discomfort that we create in our lives. So ask yourself this question: why not you? I know you've probably heard this before from a bunch of other motivational videos, but I know for a fact that you've never actually broken it down. Like, why haven't you achieved the goals that you said you were going to yet? Why haven't you become the man that you want to yet? It's because your goals don't scare you. If your goals don't genuinely scare you because you know all the shit that you're gonna have to do in order to achieve them, then to be honest, they're not even worth pursuing. Like, I have mine pinned to my desk and I look at them every single day, multiple times a day, and it almost makes me sick to my stomach because I know what it's gonna take in order for me to pull those goals off. But that is exactly what will give you this level of urgency about yourself that will spring you into action unlike anything you have ever felt before. But going back to the question of why not you, this is something that I've really been focusing on the past year, because we all have so many negative beliefs in our mind that cloud our minds and hold us back, which is the reason that we aren't living the lives that we want to live or achieve the goals that we've wanted to achieve yet. Our minds tell us all these things like we're too old, we're too young, it's too late, I'm not smart enough, not talented enough, not skilled enough, not lucky enough, I can't because where I'm from or how I look, people like me just don't do things like that. But all that shit is just limiting beliefs that are created by our own minds and nothing else. And I can tell you from personal experience over the last year that when you finally let go of those limiting beliefs and go and live your life on your own terms, you can finally begin to make the progress in life that you have always wanted to make. Think about the example I gave you earlier. I put off making content, something that I have always wanted to do for 5 full years because of all the limiting beliefs that I would make up in my own head. No one's going to listen to you. You don't have the results yet to talk about the things you want to talk about. You're naturally a shy kid. You can't speak in front of camera in front of thousands of people on the other side of it. That's not for people like you. All these different things that sabotaged my own success. Like, imagine where I would be if I started 5 years ago. Imagine where I would be if I pressed record on April 2nd of 2019 instead of April 2nd of 2024. But I digress. That's all in the past now, and I'm just grateful that I finally ended up making the decision in the end, because the reality is some people never do. Some people live their entire lives never dedicating themselves to anything, which is why the last two things that I'm going to leave you with was how I was able to change my negative beliefs about myself into positive beliefs. And these two things are changing your identity and giving yourself proof. Now, changing your identity might sound like an intimidating or super hard thing to do, but it's actually very simple. Picture in your mind the person that you want to become in as much detail as possible. What kind of shape is he in? How does he carry himself? How does he dress? How does he speak? How do other people respect him, men and women? And in every situation, think to yourself, what would that version of me do right now? And then just go and do that thing. Now, I understand this is easier said than done, but all you have to do is do it once. And then you will begin to build the second thing that I mentioned, which is stack an undeniable stack of proof that you are becoming who you want to be. Because when you give yourself so much proof over time that a negative belief that you have about yourself is false, it becomes so much easier to change it because you will no longer believe it to be true. So whether it be trauma that you've dealt with in the past or bad life choices that have led you to this point, trust me, I understand. I've been through all of it. Remember this one thing. None of us know how much future we have left. And whatever is in the past is gone. It's in the past. Forget about it. Because if you spend all of your time focusing on the past, then you are guaranteeing yourself a future that will be exactly the same. And as a final send off to this video, I encourage you to let go of your past, let go of who you used to be, and let go of every bad decision or mistake that you have ever made in your life. Because you can start the process right now of becoming the person that you have always wanted to be. There is not a single person on this planet that is holding you back from doing just that, except for you. But thank you for listening to me today. Make sure you go claim all of your free stuff in the description before you go. But in the meantime, I believe in you, bro. You got this. And I'll see you in the next one.